Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about 7 ways to bring unity, charity, and hope during COVID-19. Originally, this message was made and sent out to the solar community. The goal was to be a voice of unity and hope and charity during this time. However, I quickly realized that that message wasn't just needed for the solar folks, it was needed for everybody. So it's been revised a bit, and hopefully it can be helpful to you regardless of your situation. The other thing I do want to point out is that this message was originally for leaders in the industry. Uh, but I do think, regardless of your position or where you're at in life, that there may be something in this that you'll find useful. Okay, so without further ado, let us move on. This is a time when we need unity, forgiveness, and in many cases, charity. I've heard feedback from family, friends, colleagues, and it's clear people have been dramatically affected because of COVID-19. At such a time, we can respond with fear, with isolation, or we can respond with unity and charity. I urge us to choose the latter. This is a pocket watch. It was given to me as a gift many years ago. It's made by a company called Victorinox. You may have heard of them because they're the company that makes Swiss Army knives. What you may not know is after 9/11, their business was disproportionately impacted because a large portion of their sales were pocket knives used for travel. When these pocket knives were banned, the company could have done a lot of things. They could have panicked, like most companies, and issued mass layoffs and restricted travel expenses and done other measures to cut costs. But they didn't. They did none of those things. They were honest with their employees. They told them, they said, hey, look, we have a problem. This is a big deal. This is going to affect us. And we're asking everyone for help. We're asking everyone to come together. They reduced salaries for everybody, including the executives. And something happened that surprised everybody. Travel expenses all of a sudden went down. Again, the company did not require this. People out of their own accord, because they were touched that the managers, the leaders in their company asked for help. So people stopped spending as much money on travel or even paying for things out of their own pocket. The employees of Victorinox became more cost conscious. And another thing happened, which is just as critical. They started to think outside the box. They didn't see the crisis, they saw the opportunity. And they came together and they launched their new apparel product line. Many of you may remember during that time, if you traveled after 9/11, the black backpacks with the little Swiss insignia on it, that little Swiss insignia. If you remember that, that was the Victorinox line. That came about from the crisis. So, what can we do? What things are under our control? Well, today I have 7 ideas that I'd like to share with you. Number one, provide informational updates to our friends, our family, our staff, our customers, our networks. Now, these don't have to be sugar coated because maybe things aren't so great right now. And it's important to be honest to let people know what's going on. But also, in these updates, you may be a source of valuable information. Maybe some of your colleagues don't know about government SBA programs like the PPP. Maybe they don't know about some of the new unemployment benefits or some of the food programs. You can be a help. You can be an aid to those people. You can be a resource. Number two, ask for help. This is important. If you need help, please ask. There are a lot of people having a tough time right now, some financially, some emotionally. You are not alone. One thing I can say to you, I know it's hard for a lot of us to ask for help. Sometimes just give someone a call and say, yeah, I'm having a tough time. And just like in the case of Victorinox, you may be surprised how people respond. People have the capacity of incredible kindness. You just have to give them the opportunity. Number three, be the help. So this is sort of interesting because you could be someone asking for help, but also someone who's giving help. We are dynamic as a species in that way. However, how can you help people without asking? So again, You may just want to ask people as you talk to them, is there anything I can do to help you? And listen to what they say. They may not directly say, oh, I need help or I need this or I wish this, but they may hint at things. That's what I've found. And if you really listen to people, you'll see what their needs are. And a lot of the times, I've found that sometimes all they need is a listening ear. There's actually an old saying, and it says, am I my brother's keeper? My answer to that is, I hope so. Number 4, and this may be a tough one for people to swallow. I am particularly talking about patience and trust when it comes to money. Yes, money. Oof, that's a tough one. No one likes to talk about that, but you know what? There are people in financial need, and you know what? You might be in financial need. At Raya Solar, we've had some customers. We've installed their solar projects, and they have done their financing through the Massachusetts solar loan. But because the banks are closed, we can't get funded. Now, we also have to understand those customers, they may not feel comfortable even going to the banks if the banks will even let them in. So you really have to be patient with people and their comfort level and realize that some things are just going to move slow right now. The other thing I'm going to say too is I've seen some companies take the exact opposite approach. I've seen some distributors at a time where people may need additional credit and additional time to pay start asking for money up front. Start saying you need to pay me up front, where I know you've been a loyal customer for all these years, but now you need to pay me up front because we are afraid that you guys aren't going to be able to pay. I don't think that's the right approach. I think we have the choice. We can choose fear. But I think there's better choices. I think trust and faith are better choices. I think they're things that bring us together. And I think they're the right thing to do right now. Number 5, comfort level. This is important. You have to be empathetic to those around you. If someone you work with or one of your employees says they don't feel comfortable going to work during COVID-19, you can't make them. I have a friend, he's a plumber, a service plumber, and his wife is pregnant. Yes, he could be working. Yes, people still need plumbing services, but you know what? He doesn't want to even possibly, you know, infect or expose his wife. And we need to respect these things. Uh, Maybe you can still do your construction projects or other things, but you have to be empathetic to the comfort level of those homeowners and those business owners. They may not be comfortable yet with you in their home or their business, and that's okay. And I know, yes, that's going to slow down projects. That's going to make your life harder. But again, with the previous point, be patient. You must recognize everyone's own comfort level. And the last thing I want to say on this is many of us have friends and family that are just not comfortable with breaking social distancing yet. You may not quote unquote be sick, but they don't know that. And for one, you don't know that for sure. Actually, no one knows that. So let's just be patient with people and their comfort levels. Number 6, charity and sacrifice. Again, this is to all you managers, all you business owners, anyone who's in a position to help. I suggest you do what you can. If you need to cut your salary, so you can keep paying your employees, I suggest you do it. I'm not saying this is all or nothing, but the idea here is do whatever you can to help. I've heard of some really heartwarming stories of landlords waiving tenants' rents. It was a great story I read where there was a woman, she went to her landlord and she was going to tell him she can't pay rent. And before she could open her mouth, the landlord said, you know what? Don't worry about the rent this month. Don't worry about it. We're going to waive it for this month. Stuff like that's beautiful. And you know what? When we do things like that, we don't do it so we can get something in return. We do it because we are in a position to help, and it's the right thing to do. Lastly, number 7, from crisis comes opportunity. As with the case in 9/11 and Victorinox, crisis begets opportunity. Sometimes great changes, they do require dramatic circumstances. Folks, these are dramatic circumstances. So ask yourself, what opportunities lie beneath the surface? Business owners, managers, encourage your staff to seek different creative roles. What are some ways to enhance your business practices, to better your systems? For everyone else, perhaps it's time to consider a change in job, in career, in location. Perhaps it's time for greater self actualization. It's time to rekindle old relationships. It's time to focus on things that are truly meaningful to you in your life. This is a great opportunity. We have time now. Be still and try to listen to that inner voice. This may be the opportunity you've been waiting for. It's maybe a major turning point in your life. So again, I urge all of you, all of us, let's be there for each other. We are better when we are collectively strong. Let this time be a time of unity, a time of charity, a time of hope. So with hope and sincerity, I send this message out to you.